Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APWSPORTS signing in. And isn't it a great time for us football fans? Football is finally here with the preseason just being underway. The Jaguars and Raiders squared off in the Hall of Fame game, and the preseason is officially underway. And I feel it's time for, in today's video, to give each team's win total for the regular season. Now, I did do a video previously on my way too early predictions. I did that before the draft, before any of the bigger trades went down. I think as each team's roster is probably constructed the way they run it to, with some little small signings here and there. I think it's time now for me to give my predictions for each team's win total heading into this 2022 NFL season. But before I get into that, make sure you guys give this video a like, as it always helps this channel to continue to grow, and it helps to beat the YouTube algorithm. And about 96% of the people that watch these videos are not subbed to the channel. So if you fit into that percentile, make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you will not miss a single video. But it's time to give the win total for each team. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, so we have the win totals at 15 to 17 wins. We have it at 13 to 14. We have it at 10 to 12. We have it at 7 to 9. We have it at 4 to 6, and we have 1 to 3. And the first team that's going to come up is the San Francisco 49ers. A shout out to my boy Jay in the Bay. I believe his link to his channel down below. I'm going to be doing a collab with them as the Bears face off against the 49ers in week 1. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to my boy Jay in the Bay and the things he does over on this channel. Make sure you guys tune in. For the 49ers, this is going to be a hard team to grade, because they're now switching from Jimmy G over to Trey Lance. It's finally their QB1. They moved up 3 picks to get him. The 49ers is going to be a tough team to grade. But if I were to give them a win total, this is going to be tough. I'm probably going to go within a 7 to 9 range. I could go 10 to 12. I could go 10 to 12 for this football team, but I'm going to stay it safe. I think they're going to finish second in their division. So I'm going to give it 7 to 9 wins for the San Francisco 49ers. Next, we have their division rivals, the Arizona Cardinals, a team that I previously made a video on, which a card will pop up, that they're in trouble. And I still believe that to this point, this Cardinals team is in trouble. They lost some pieces. They have DeAndre Hopkins suspended for the first 6 games. I personally like Kyler Murray, but we have to see if he can stay consistent. Defensively, they have some nice pieces, but losing Chandler Jones, I believe, will hurt this football team. So I'm going to go within the 7 to 9 range for the Arizona Cardinals as well. Even though it's a 2-team battle, I think for the second place in that division, I think the Cardinals will be around a 7 to 9 winning football team. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens. This team is another team that's going to be tough to grade. They did have a lot of injuries last year. They did have Lamar out, J.K. Dobbins missed a year, Gus Edwards missed a year, Marlon Humphreys got hurt, Marcus Peters got hurt. The names go on and on as far as the injuries go. But I think this team is fully healthy. They missed a lot of wide receiver with Hollywood Brown being traded, which I still don't agree with this football team. I can see them as a 10 to 12 win football team if healthy. They do have Patrick Quinn on their defense who's emerging. Momar stays healthy, this running game is going to be crazy. They have a solid offensive line with Mark Andrews at the tight end position. I can see this team being a 10 to 12 win football team. Next is the Buffalo Bills. I just did a video about them. I think they're the most dangerous team in the AFC. I think I'm giving this away. I don't care. They're my prediction to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. I can see this team going to 13 to 14 win. This might be a little blasphemous. I think they could be one of the best teams in the NFL. Call it as it may. I think they could be one of the best. Next is the Carolina Panthers. This team is tough to grade as well. We're going to see what Baker Mayfield looks like in the Panthers uniform. They do have some weapons with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, if he stays healthy. Brian Burns on the defensive side of the ball. They do get Jeremy Chin. They do get J.C. Horn back healthy. I can see this team being between 7 to 9 wins or 4 to 6 wins. They need to be 7 to 9 wins, but I can see this team being 4 to 6. I can see it. I don't believe it's going to happen, but I can see it. I could put them in 7 to 9, but could put them in 4 to 6. A lot of teams could go in 7 to 9, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put this at a 7 to 9 win football. You know what? No, I'm going to drop them. We're leaving it 4 to 6. Leaving it 4 to 6, and I think 6 is the maximum. Next, we have my Chicago Bears. Now, there's a lot of people that 1 to 3. It's a lot of people that's 4-6. I personally, I did a video with Payo Time, the Rams YouTuber. I did a collab with him. I gave my win and loss prediction for the Bears this season, and I said in that video, 7-10. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with 7 wins for the Chicago Bears. As much as I could easily see them winning 4-6, I don't see them winning 3. But I could easily see them being 4-6 win football team. But for my prediction, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick to my word. 7 wins for the Chicago Bears. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, 10-12 win football team easily. Improving that offensive line is something that they needed to do, and they did. They keep a lot of the core, of course, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, with added pieces on the offensive line like Lyle Collins. They have a defense that's very solid, Zach Wilson, a middle linebacker. They have a guy like Jesse Bates in the back, who's one of the better safeties in football. Von Bell is a very solid safety for them. Trey Hendrickson and Sam Herbert up front. They have a solid football team. Coming off of a surprise Super Bowl appearance, they could be a team that's right there in contention again in 2022. Next is the Cleveland Browns. Now, I think this might be one of the toughest teams to grade, mainly because of the quarterback situation. We don't know if Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension is going to stick. I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming he's going to be suspended for some time this year. And they're going to go to Jacoby Brissett. And as much as I like Jacoby Brissett, he's not the same quarterback as Deshaun Watson. They made some moves this offseason, bringing in Amari Cooper. They have a solid running game. Now you have Kareem Hunt requesting a trade. At the time of me recording this video, Nick Chubb in the backfield. Defense, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney with the pass rush up front. Jeremiah Kiro-Wosu, I hope I'm saying that right. He's a very solid player. But for the quarterback situation, I'm going to have them at 4-6 wins. With the trading of Baker Mayfield, you bring in Deshaun Watson, who I think is better, but he has that whole cloud of suspension hanging over his head, and I know he's going to be suspended for some time. So I'm going to leave him at 4-6 wins. The Dallas Cowboys, I hate their fans. I'm not going to lie. Their fans are delusional. But I will keep it honest with this Dallas Cowboys team and get this 7-9 win. I'm going to get this Dallas Cowboy team 7-9 wins. Dak Prescott, I still think is solid. I still think that this Dallas Cowboys team can compete in the NFC East, but I don't think they're going to win, to be honest. Next, we have the Denver Broncos. This is another competitive football team. Another competitive football team bringing in Russell Wilson. Bringing in a guy like Russell Wilson is going to help this team tremendously from the quarterback position that they had before. They have a solid defense. Justin Simmons, and you have a guy like Bradley Chubb. You have Ronald Darby. You have wide receivers, even though Tim Patrick just tore his ACL. You have Jerry Jeudy. You have Cortland Sutton. And KJ Hamler can step up and make a role. Javonte Williams in the backfield. I think this is a 7-9 win football team in that very, very competitive AFC West. Next, we have the Detroit Lions, who I think is a very good, improved football team with things they did in their first round with Aiden Hutchinson. They brought in a guy like Jameson Williams from the Alabama, formerly of Ohio State. I like the guys that they brought in with DJ Chark as well. Jared Goff. Can he be a good quarterback in his second year? I'm not sure. So I'm going to lead him at 4-6 wins. Next, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I just made a video about this football team as well. And I think they're going to be the kings of the NFC East coming into this year. And I think they are going to be one of the more improved football teams in 2022. So I'm going to give them a 10-12 win range. And they're going to win that NFC East. Next is the Atlanta Falcons. They have a lot going on. I hate to do this because shout out to my big brother. He's a Falcons fan, but 1-3 wins for this. 1-3 wins. This team is just not very good. They have solid pieces like a guy like Kyle Pitts, but Mariota or Desmond Whittaker at quarterback is not going to sell me. You have H.A. Terrell, who's I think one of the best corners in football. You have a guy like Grady Jarrett, who's solid. You have Deion Jones, but this team is just not very good. And the trading of Matt Ryan made him even worse. So I'm going to leave him at 1-3 wins. Next is the Green Bay Packers, a team that I can't stand, but I have to be real. 10-12 win football team. You're going to get that with Aaron Rodgers. You're going to get at least 10 wins. He's been proving when he's the quarterback and he has some weapons, 10-12 wins. Now, Louis Devontae Adams is going to hurt a lot. But they do get Jair Alexander back, who missed a good part of last year with injuries. You do get a guy like A.J. Dillon, who is going to be a surprise player, I think. Aaron Jones. And you guys, the Green Bay Packers are going to be good as much as it hates me to say this. Next, the Houston Texans. I'm going to give them 1-3 wins. I love Lovie Smith. Now, personally, I love Lovie Smith as their head coach. But they just don't have the roster to get it done. They just do not have the roster to get it done. They just don't. Next, we're going to have the Indianapolis Colts. They were this close to making the playoffs last year. I'm going to have them at 7-9 wins. They do get Matt Ryan as a quarterback. Jonathan Taylor is back in the running game as The offensive line has proved one of the best in football. Their defense is improving with Darius Leonard, who wants to be called Shaquille Leonard now. This football team, 7-9 win. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to put them at 4-6, but they're going to be improved. They are going to look so much better than what they did last season. I love Urban Meyer, but that did not work. They had Doug Peterson's head coach with Trevor Lawrence heading into the second year. I'm not going to have high expectations, besides the money that they spent in free agency with getting guys like Christian Kirk in. I just don't believe the Jaguars team is going to be good just yet, but they're going to be improved. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to have them at 10-12 wins. They're going to be a very good football team. They're going to be very good. I'm interested to see how this offense is going to look without Tyreek Hill. You have Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm interested to see what their defense is going to look like without Tyrann Mathieu, who's played a big part of making that defense solid the past couple of seasons. Now he's gone. I can't count out Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, so by default, I'm giving them 10-12. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm going to put them up there as well as 10-12 win football team. I love what they did in the offseason, bringing in Khalil Mack, bringing in J.C. Jackson. They re-signed Mike Williams. Of course, you have Justin Herbert, who's one of the top quarterbacks, and Austin Eckler in the backfield. Keenan Allen. You have a very solid offensive line led by Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater. Joey Bosa as well, Derwin James. So this team is primed. This team's primed to win, and I believe in this Chargers team. So I'm going to give them 10-12 wins. Next is the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm going to give them 10-12 wins as well, defending Super Bowl champions. They have brought in Allen Robinson. They brought in Bobby Wagner to help with their defensive front. They do lose Von Miller, who played a big part in the latter half of their season. I'm still interested to see if they're going to bring Odell Beckham Jr. back, but Matthew Stafford proved the quarterback to elevate this team to playoff contenders, Super Bowl champions. Matthew Stafford was the guy last year. And Cooper Kupp, amazing season. Let's see if he can repeat some of that with the second year with Matthew Stafford. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, another improved football team, but they're going to be right there with the Denver Broncos. Very competitive team in the AFC West, which I think is the most stacked division in football. You bring in a guy like Devontae Adams with Derek Carr. He finally gets that true number one wide receiver that this Raiders team has been lacking probably since the trade of Amari Cooper to the Cowboys. This team is going to be good. They brought in Chandler Jones as well to help with their pass rush up front, along with Max Crosby, a very good pass rushing duo. This Raiders team is going to be a very solid football team, but I see them at the 7-9 win range. Next is the Miami Dolphins. I think another much improved team. They brought in Tyreek Hill. They brought in Raheem Mostert. I think Tua is going to take another step. On the defensive side of the ball, you have Xavier Howard, Byron Jones. You have a guy like Christian Wilkins, who's been playing really solid up front. Jerome Baker at the linebacker position. You have Jalen Waddle at the wide receiver position, playing well on the offensive side of the ball. You bring in Teron Armstead in free agency, one of the premier left tackles. This Dolphins team was Coach Mike McDaniel at the head coaching position, bringing him in from the San Francisco 49ers. This team is going to use their speed very well, and I think this Miami Dolphins team will be very much improved. Next, you have the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're going to be at their 7-9 win range. They're going to be right there with I think they're going to be above the Bears in the NFC North. They're going to be right there for a playoff shot. They're probably going to be a 9-win football team, if I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to put them right there at their 7-9 win range. You have a very, very good quarterback, as much as he questioned in Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, wide receiver duo Dalvin Cook. I think this team is going to be improved, 7-9 wins. Next is the New England Patriots. In the stacked AFC, with the Bills, I think getting better. With the Dolphins, I think getting better. I'm going to put them at the 7-9 win range, with the 9 wins being the max. I believe this Patriots team, it's going to be a very competitive football team. I'm interested to see what Mac Jones really looks like in year 2. Getting more of the reins on him. I think he, out of last year, was the quarterback that was drafted in the best situation. I don't think he was the most talented out of them last year. He was just in the best situation in New England with that team with Hunter Henry, with that team with Damian Harris, Kendrick Bourne. On the defensive side of the ball, you still were very solid, a very solid unit. So I think he was in the best situation versus the best player out of the quarterbacks last year. And I think we're going to see how far he grows into year 2 of his career. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints. This team is going to be tough to rank, but as much as I personally like the Saints, 4-6 wins, 6 is being the most. We're going to see what Michael Thomas looks like after missing probably nearly 2 years. He missed all of last year. Alvin Kamara is still one of the best backs. Still have one of the better defenses. What is that quarterback position going to look like? And what is this offense going to look like without Sean Payton at the helm? Dennis Allen is their new head coach. Sean Payton, of course, retired this offseason. We're going to see what this offense really looks like without Sean Payton at the reins. I'm not really too high on it at this point. We're going to see how they're going to look. Next is the New York Giants. They're probably going to be a 4-6 win football team. I don't believe in Daniel Jones as much as I believe in Brian Daboll coming in as their head coach. I do not believe in Daniel Jones. I think they're going to be going another route very soon. And I did a video about most approved. He's one of the ones that have the most to prove heading into this year. He has a lot to prove. They brought in some guys like Galladay. They brought in Evan Neal in the draft, Kayvon Thibodeau to help with their defense. They lost James Bradbury. I'm not sure this Giants team is going to be that good, so I'm going to give them 4-6 wins. The Jets are going to be right there at 4-6 wins. I think they are one of the most improved teams as far as things that they've done at their roster, but they're still a very young football team with Zach Wilson and Robert Saleh heading into year 2 together as head coach and quarterback. You have a guy like Elijah Moore who's very solid. You have a guy like Corey Davis who can be solid. Garrett Wilson from The Ohio State University. He's going to be a big part of this offense. You get in a guy like Breece Hall. Defensively, Jermaine Johnson in the first round. You get Sauce Gardner in the first round to pair with a guy like Quinn Williams who's very solid up front. Hopefully CJ Mosley can pan out and turn better. But I just believe this team is going to be improved, but I just don't think it's going to improve in the win column. It's going to be improved as in how this team looked and how they learned to win football games. Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. By default, they're going to be 500. Mike Tomlin, they're going to be 500. Now, Mitchell Trubisky is coming in as the replacement Ben Roethlisberger. I am one that believes in Mitch Trubisky to be better. I've been seeing it on Twitter. I'm getting backlash. I've been getting backlash from my Mitch Trubisky stance on this channel. He is going to be better outside of that stupid Matt Nagy offense, outside of him being stuck in that. I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to pan out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even though they drafted Kenny Pickett, I just still believe in Mitchell Trubisky to be a solid quarterback. I never said he was elite. He's going to be solid for them. I made a video on that even before they signed him that he was going to be solid. I still believe you have a very good defense. Reigning defensive player of the year in J.J. Watt. You have a guy like Cam Hammer. You have a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick. On the offensive side of the ball, you have a guy like DeAndre Johnson, who they just re-signed. Trace Claypool, Najee Harris. They're going to be a solid football team. They're going to get over 500 or 500 by default. So that's why I'm going to put the Pittsburgh Steelers at. Seattle Seahawks, they could be 1-3 or they could be 4-6. But for the sake of this, I'm going to put 1-3. I think the quarterback situation transferring from Russell Wilson to Drew Lock and Geno Smith, big downgrade. Big downgrade. You have DK Metcalf still. You have Tyler Lockett still. Jamal Adams, I think, is, in my opinion, personally, a little bit overrated. I don't believe in the Seahawks football team anymore. I just don't. Offensive line was never very good. Defensively, they can never really get after the quarterback consistently. I think this team is going to be one of those teams that takes the biggest step back out of any team in the NFL. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by, of course, the GOAT, Tom Brady, 10-12 wins. You still have most of that core pretty much intact with Mike Williams, Chris Godwin. You have a guy like Leonard Fournette, and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team still going to be formidable, still going to be a very good football team, but in a 10-12 win range. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans. They're going to take a step back. They are going to take a step back. You trade away a guy like A.J. Brown. You draft him with Willis, and I don't think they don't believe in Ryan Tannehill anymore. Derrick Henry, going to be very solid. But I can easily see this Titans team in 4-6 or 7-9 range. I don't think they're going to drop off to at least 4-6, even though that is very possible. But I'm going to put them in that 7-9 win range. And the last team is the Washington Commanders. I don't believe Carson Wentz is going to make this football team any better. I just do not believe in Carson Wentz. They drafted Sam Howell, and I think he's going to end up taking the reins at some point. Carson Wentz is just not the same player anymore. Defensively, they have Chase Young coming back, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen up front. Offensively, Antonio Gibson, very solid. Terry McLaurin from The Ohio State, one of the better receivers that we have in football, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz. But hey, these are my rankings. Yes, I have the Buffalo Bills. I think it's going to be the best team in football. Call me blasphemous, but that's just what I believe. If I missed anything or if you guys disagree, I know a lot of guys are probably going to disagree. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to see what you think. And as always, leave this video a like. And if you are not subscribed, go ahead and click that sub button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the content that I post. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe, have a great and excellent day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.